What's going on, guys, and welcome back to FBA Capital. And today I'm bringing you guys another weekly market breakdown on US30. So without further ado, let's get straight into the charts. Bringing you guys another weekly market breakdown on US30. We about to get straight into the charts, so let's get right on into it. So first things first, I'm going to take you guys to the weekly time frame, because if you guys have been paying attention to US30 at all this week, you would know that we had this very bearish week. And last week I was anticipating to have a bearish week. I did not anticipate price to have this big of a drop, but as you know, we can never anticipate the full whatever is going to happen. But as of right now, we have this bullish order block right here, bullish weekly order block, that is now getting traded into for the 1, 2, 3, 4th time. So the likelihood of price reacting and then coming down for these lows is going to be far more likely than unlikely. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that's something that I am going to be potentially anticipating. So let's just keep that in mind. But then again, let me also pull my fib from this low to this high of where we started to have this retracement, just like this. And I also see that from that high, from this low to this high, we are currently rejecting the order block, and we're also rejecting the fib long 62 to 70.50% right here. And we're also coming down to this big figure 34,000 level. So there's a lot of reason for me to believe that we could potentially be expecting at least to see a reaction this week. Might not be a big reaction, but as you see, every time we came to this 34,000 level, price had this reaction to the top side. So we could potentially come down, maybe even try to clear these lows before having that reaction. But at the end of the day, only time will tell. But so as of right now, something we could possibly anticipate on the higher time frame is for price to potentially maybe have a retracement to then go lower. Or if that doesn't happen, we could be potentially just looking for a reaction off of these levels to see price go higher to retrace to, at least I would say, a good area to look for a retracement back to would be 35,598, which is if right up here, and we will be filling in this fair value gap, and we'll also be retracing back into this bearish breaker block right here, just like that. So this is potentially what I'm anticipating based off the weekly. At the end of the day, anything can happen. Price could either just start dropping or it could start retracing. Anything can happen, but at the end of the day, it's all about just anticipating what is more likely to happen based off of high probability opportunities, and just basically letting the market show you what it wants to do. So now let's move on to the in-depth chart. So just like this, I'm going to get rid of all the drawings. Okay, should have just did over there, man, but let's do this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark up the previous day's highs and previous day's lows, which are right here. We got the previous day's high and the previous day's low. Why do I mark this up? Because like I said, like I showed you guys, based off the higher time frames on the weekly, we are bearish. So we are going to be anticipating potentially price to continue being bearish, because we know based off of probabilities that the likelihood that if a candle forms bearish, the likelihood of the next candle being bearish is at least 50% higher than it being bullish. And if you go based off of probabilities like me, I don't go off of possibilities, I go off of probabilities. Then the probability of price having a run on the previous day's low is going to be far more likely than unlikely. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark up the previous Friday's Asian session range, which is a little bit messed up, so I'm going to do it myself, just like can't even really do it like this. We're gonna have to wait for the market to open. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this right here, and this isn't even it. So hold on, let me fix this because my timing is all wrong. I don't know why it's set to New York, but I don't know. I just gotta fix the indicator. But neither here nor there. We're just going to mark up from 18 o'clock all the way to this 12 a.m. right here. We're gonna make this orange. And now we're going to be potentially anticipating price to have a retracement to continue lower, because like I said, based off the higher time frames, if we come over here. What's going on, guys? So before you keep on watching the video, I just wanted to tell you guys about this opportunity that I have for you guys. So as of recently, I have been getting a lot of questions and comments and concerns about whether or not I do one-on-one mentorship. I personally do not do one-on-one mentorship, but I do have mentorship now, which I decided because you guys have been asking for it for a while now. So what will I be providing? I will be providing daily live stream access and mentorship every single day, where I will teach you everything that I know, and I will guide you from zero to hero. And along with that, I will be giving you live trade analysis, and you will know all of my trades taken live real time. So with that being said, the price of it right now is $100 a month, but the price is not going to be like that for long. After the first 100 people join, I will be having the price go up. So make sure you take advantage while you can. And now you can finish watching the video. Go to our higher time frame chart. Go to the daily time frame now. Let's get rid of this. You see that price is in this area right now where we could be potentially expecting price to have this bullish push. So based off the daily, we are in this daily order block area. So that's something I'm going to be anticipating. So the likelihood of having a reaction is going to be far more likely than unlikely. But then again, I am keeping in mind that we all do have 34,000 big figure level right below this. So there is a chance that we can run even lower. But like I said, we don't really know what's going to happen, so the best thing we could potentially do is wait for price to just continue in this trend, and it is bearish, so we're just more than likely going to be continuing bearish at least at 34,000. So now that we know we have an area where we're likely going to target, let's go map that out over here. So now we have 34,000 right here. So this is going to be a main area that we are going to be anticipating price to target this week. Why? Because we know that there's liquidity below these lows, and we also know it's a big figure level, and we do know that they're all weak, and based off the higher time frames, the weekly and the daily, price has been very bearish. And also, if we come here, mark up that weekly order block one more time, mark up the 50% of that weekly order block, just like this, get those 50%. You see that 34,000 is right below this, 50% is right below this low here. So what do we know about that? That we know there's liquidity below this low. We know that we have a big figure level here, and we see the 50% here. So we could likely tap into it and create a wick like we did multiple times over here. Then you come back to the daily, and you see how everything starts to map out. So now we go back to the lower time frame, just like this. Now we're going to be potentially anticipating price to have a retracement to potentially continue on short. So where would we draw our fib? I'm going to draw my fib from this high. Why this high? Because this is the high that ran the liquidity on this high here, making the high of the day for that previous day. So I'm going to draw my fib from that high to this low right here. Why this low? Because for one, we are at a big figure level, which is 34,200, which is another area I'm going to be anticipating price to have a potential reaction from. It doesn't mean we're going to have a major push or drop from this area. I'm just expecting a potential reaction. Could be 50 points, could be 400. You never know. It's just all about anticipating where price is likely to have these movements from. So now if I pull my fib from that high to this low, I'm gonna just use the 34,200 level instead of the actual low, pull the fib, and now we have an area where we can anticipate price to likely retrace to. Now what is something I'm also going to do now that we go back to this Asian range? We know that this is an accumulation. What does price like to do with consolidation and accumulation? When there's a lot of accumulation and consolidation in the market, that just basically means that the market is accumulating orders. It's going up and down because price is anticipating that is getting ready for a breakout. If you ever notice, before a breakout happens, it always consolidates. And before a big move happens, it always consolidates. It always starts with a consolidation. Consolidation, then either a manipulation in price, then the distribution. Just like this, price consolidated, manipulated these Asian session highs right here. Manipulated these highs, cleared them, came down. Then we had that distribution. Then what happened? Price came up. We start consolidating a little bit right here, came up, cleared these highs, the manipulation, then the distribution to the downside. It's just understanding the cycles and understanding the market phases. So as of right now, we are basically going to be anticipating price to either consolidate and then have a retracement and then continue that downtrend, or we're going to be expecting price to consolidate and then have an overall reversal. But based off of what we're looking at, I'm going to be anticipating a potential reaction up here. Why here? Because I see that we have this bearish 1 hour order block. And why am I going to be anticipating a reaction from here? Because for one, like I said, we're going to be anticipating either a retracement, then come lower, or we're going to be anticipating a full-blown reversal on price. Now, why am I expecting this retracement? Because like I said, based off the higher time frames, everything is bearish. Now let's take this a step further. Now we got to look to where price is likely to react to. So let's look at the low of this last previous day's candle. Where is it at? This is at 34,523. So now we're gonna So let's come back to the higher time frame. Let's see where that level is. So let's see. We are going to be anticipating a potential reaction here, and this is at 34,523. So now if we come back to here, look for 34,500, which is right here, a big freak level 500. So we're going to mark this up also, just like this. So now we have this big freaker level that is also in confluence right here in this area. So now we have that 523, which is I'm going to mark up with just like this 523, and I'm going to make this one black just because so I know the difference. 523 is where this low is right here, and that is also at this high of the order block. So one thing we could be anticipating that if price continues to retrace, we could see a price retrace all the way up here, and it's either going to have this drop, or we could see price potentially come a little bit higher and retrace into this 34,600 area, and that is going to be another big figure level that I'm also going to mark up. There's a lot of levels that you could potentially be expecting price to have these reactions from, but at the end of the day, it's all about just understanding which one is more high probability, which one has more confirmation. So as you see, just in this general area from 34,500 to 34,600, we have a lot of reason to believe price is going to have that reaction. So now that we have this order block here on the 1 hour that isn't in confluence, let's see if we go to 4 hour. Let's go to the daily. So 4 hour. Now let's try the 8 hour time frame. I do see right here at the 8 hour time frame, we have this 8 hour order block. So this is going to be an area that we have more confluence and more reason to believe why price is going to have that reaction to the downside. So now that we have that drawn up just like that, we see that this is also right here in confluence with the 70.50%, the 79%, and 34,700 big figure level. So that is something we could be potentially anticipating, and this is just based off of understanding that prices overall had this bearish market structure. We've seen that price ran these highs, came lower, and we're going to be anticipating price to have this run above to potentially continue on the downtrend lower, targeting the previous day's low, and then potentially targeting 34,000, which is going to be our overall main objective for this week. Once we get to 34,000, from here we're going to be anticipating price to potentially be looking to possibly have runs on the highs. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the higher time frame. I'm going to go to the weekly, and I'm going to mark up the weekly lows and weekly highs. Why? Because it's the same thing as marking up the daily lows and daily highs. When you have a bearish week, you're going to be anticipating the next week to run the lows of the previous week. Same thing if you're bullish. If you're bullish on a week and then it closes bullish, the next week you're going to be anticipating for that week's candle to run that week's high. It's basic market structure and basic understanding of how candle psychology works, understanding the way they form, understanding the way they run. So this is basically what I have for US30 as of right now. I'm bullish long term still, but at the same time, we just got to see how price reacts, because we are in a specific area where this area all in here is going to determine what happens this week. So I'm going to make this red just because this is going to be somewhere where we're either going to see a reaction to the top side, or we're going to see price make an extreme run for the lows down here potentially. So that's something we're going to be watching out for, because as of right now, we are extremely bearish, and there's no reason for me to believe that the next day isn't going to run the previous day's low also, just based off of everything we're looking at, based off of all these lower time frame confirmations, based off the Asian session range. And even if you pull it over, you can see how this Asian session range is in confluence with everything else. And you never know. At the end of the day, I have no reason to believe that I'm going to be right. I have no reason to believe I'm going to be wrong. This is just personally what I'm anticipating for this upcoming week. So based off of that, this is what my anticipation is for our week ahead. We had a bearish week, so we're going to see. We could possibly continue that trend, or we could just overall have a reversal at 34,000, which is overall going to be the target for the week. After we reach 34,000, from there we're going to have to reevaluate. We got to see what day of the week it is, because if we hit 34,000 around Thursday, Friday, the likelihood of having a major push to the top side is going to be far less likely. But if we make it down to 34,000 by, at least I would say by Wednesday, the latest, we can still anticipate that Thursday, Friday, we could be expecting price to have pushes, retracements, and then pushes, retracements to continue higher during the end of the week. But at the end of the day, neither here nor there. So we're just going to be patient, let price show us what it wants to do. And that's really it. So if this video was helpful, if this video was able to give you a little insight on how I personally view the market, or how what I personally believe is going to happen this week, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.